Hi, my name is Brian Norton with the INDATAProject at Easterseals Crossroads, and today we're going to be taking a look at some adaptive controllers, game controllers that is. You know, adaptive gaming has become pretty popular in recent years, and for folks with disabilities, sometimes access was really difficult. There's a few places out there, ablegamers.com, lots of other manufacturers who make game controllers and are really invested in the disability community have come up with some really unique designs for different types of controllers to help folks with disabilities get access to these games more easily. And so I put a couple of these things out here. We have a lot more in our loan library, a place where you can come borrow these devices for 30 days if you live in the state of Indiana. But I just wanted to kind of cover just a few of these just to talk about them a little bit because they are unique and they're a lot of fun. And so the first two I want to kind of highlight are in the front here. These are Xbox controllers. This one over here, the white one, is the Microsoft Xbox controller, their adaptive controller. It has big buttons on it. It's got a bigger touchpad, so if you have targeting issues, to be able to hit some of those buttons. But really the unique thing about it is if you flip it over this way, and I'll kind of just hold it there, hopefully it's showing up and focusing the camera, it's got switch ports all along the back. And so as we take a look at a traditional Xbox controller, you notice it's got lots of buttons and lots of directionals, lots of different things that you can do to be able to activate and use the games. Well, every button on a traditional Xbox controller has a corresponding switch port on the back. And so for persons with disabilities who can't use a traditional controller, you can spread out an array of switches from which they can then activate those different buttons or those different controls and functions of the game. So it makes it really, really useful for folks with disabilities. This one over here, I've got a little contraption up here in the front. This is just something that we printed, 3D printed off of Thingiverse. This is allowing you to be able to turn a traditional Xbox controller into a one-handed controller. So this actually just snaps on, and once it's on there, you can then activate these different switches on the front with one hand to be able to get to the buttons on the other side of the device. And so it makes it really helpful and useful. Just an interesting way to be able to turn a traditional two-handed device into a one-handed device. A couple other things I just wanted to highlight a little bit. This over here is from Broadened Horizons. It's a sip and puff kind of activation game controller. You've obviously got the buttons. It's got little lists for what those buttons relate to on a particular controller. It's got sip and puff switches here so that you can sip or either puff air out or sip air in to be able to activate some different controllers. It's also got some nice directionals up here, but a really nice game controller as well. And again, that's from Broadened Horizons. So you can look that up. Over here is a 3D Rudder. 3D Rudder, so for folks who have that dexterity fine motor control issues with directionals and things like that, this allows you to kind of be able to put something on the ground. To be able to then activate perhaps directionals within a game or those types of things. But another different type of controller to be able to provide different abled persons an ability to be able to use those games that everybody loves and has fun with these days. And so again, this is just a look at some adaptive controllers. Well, that's your tech tip for today. I want to say thank you to the Indiana Telephone Relay Access Corporation for sponsoring our captions today. My name is Brian Norton with the INDATAProject at Easterseals Crossroads in Indiana.